When we decide to let someone go, one of the most profound shifts that happens within us is an emotional and energetic detox. It's as though we are cutting ties to a part of ourselves that's been weighed down by attachments, and in doing so, we free ourselves from that weight. We often don't realize how much emotional baggage we carry until we begin to feel lighter after the decision is made. Letting go isn't just about releasing another person, it's about releasing the emotional energy we've invested in them and the situation. These energies have a way of lingering long after the interaction, sometimes without us even realizing how much they affect us. At first, the process of letting go can feel overwhelming. There's a certain fear that accompanies it, the fear of loss, the fear of leaving behind something that once mattered, the fear of what might be left in the wake. But what often goes unnoticed in these moments is that by holding on to someone or something that no longer serves us, we allow our energy to become stagnant. We allow it to be consumed by a past that's no longer relevant, by a person who may not share the same energy anymore, by a relationship that no longer nurtures us. That energetic attachment pulls us down, and it clouds our path forward. When we finally make the decision to let someone go, the energy that has been bound to that person or situation is released. It's like the release of a heavy balloon that's been tethered to the ground for far too long. The emotional weight starts to lift. It's not just about an intellectual decision. It's a deeply felt shift that happens on a soul level. You can feel it in your body. That space you once felt heavy with becomes lighter. There's a sense of relief, even if the relief is subtle at first. Emotionally, we can sometimes become so attached to our stories about someone or something that we forget to check in with ourselves. We get so wrapped up in what the relationship once was, or what we hoped it could be, that we overlook how it may have changed or how it has ceased to align with who we are becoming. And in this energetic attachment, we hold on too long. This makes it all the more important to recognize when it's time to let go, not because it's easy, but because we deserve the emotional freedom that comes with clearing the clutter. But this release, this detox, isn't just about shedding a person. It's about shedding all of the emotions tied to them, the anger, the resentment, the longing, the expectations, the unspoken words. These emotional residues are like debris that clouds our vision. They prevent us from seeing the future clearly and can cloud our understanding of what is truly important. When we let go, we are in essence purging ourselves of this clutter. We are cleansing our energetic field, so to speak, and making space for the clarity we so desperately need. This act of letting go brings with it an opportunity to reconnect with who we truly are, beneath all the layers of emotion that have been built up over time. This emotional detox doesn't always happen immediately. It's a process. The moment you decide to let go, there's a deep sense of relief, yes, but it's followed by a period of recalibration. Your emotions need time to catch up to the decision your spirit has already made. You may still find yourself thinking about the person or situation, perhaps even feeling pangs of sadness or guilt. This is normal. It's the residue of the old energy trying to hold on. But with each passing day, as you continue to focus on your own healing and growth, you'll begin to notice that these feelings become less and less. Over time, the space that was once filled with a person or a connection becomes filled with peace. And peace, when you experience it in the aftermath of letting go, feels like a return to your true self. It's not something you have to chase or force. It's already there, beneath the layers of the emotional clutter. As the energetic ties weaken and fade, you begin to feel more like yourself. You begin to feel the joy of reconnecting with your own energy, unburdened by the past. It's a return to wholeness, a rediscovery of your authentic essence. However, the emotional detox is not just about feeling better. It also brings with it the opportunity to grow in a way that wouldn't have been possible if you'd continued to hold on. When we hold on to people or situations that no longer serve us, we are unconsciously choosing stagnation over growth. We are choosing comfort over the unknown. Letting go, while initially uncomfortable, forces us to face the discomfort of change, of transformation. And through this discomfort, we grow spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. The emotional freedom that comes with letting go also opens up new pathways to understanding ourselves and the world around us. We can begin to see ourselves not in relation to someone else, but as independent, whole beings. We are no longer defined by our interactions with others or by how they make us feel. Instead, we reconnect with the essence of who we are and our own innate value. It's only through the energetic release of another that we are able to fully reclaim our own power. Letting go is often mistaken for an act of weakness. Many believe that if we let go, we are somehow giving up or losing something, but in reality, letting go is an act of strength. It takes great courage to face the reality of what is no longer serving us and to make the conscious choice to free ourselves. It's not an easy decision, but it is a courageous one. It requires self-awareness, self-love, and the understanding that in order to continue growing and evolving, we must sometimes let go of what is no longer in alignment with who we are. In this space of emotional and energetic release, we begin to make room for new things, new experiences, new connections, new lessons. It's as if the universe responds to our decision to let go by saying, "Now, you're ready for something greater." The release of energy that was once invested in someone or something opens up channels for new possibilities, for new energies to enter your life. This is why letting go often feels like an invitation to step into a new chapter, a new version of yourself. The emotional detox creates the space needed for personal evolution, for the unfolding of your spiritual path. And so the release is not an ending but a beginning. It's an opening to something deeper, to something more aligned with your highest good. By choosing to let someone go, you are choosing to make room for what is meant to come next, whether that's a new relationship, a deeper connection with yourself, or a greater sense of peace. The energetic detox isn't just about cutting ties, it's about clearing the way for growth, healing, and the expansion of your spirit. When you choose to release, you free yourself, not just from the past, but also to the future, to all that you are becoming. And that in itself is the greatest gift you can give yourself. When you decide to let someone go, something remarkable happens spiritually. Inner peace begins to settle in. It's not always immediate, and it doesn't always happen in the way you might expect, but this peace finds its way to you nonetheless. For so long, when we hold on to a person or a situation, we often do so because we believe that attachment is where our security lies. We hold on to the relationship, the emotions, or even the expectation of what the connection could become, all the while unknowingly sacrificing the one thing we desperately need, our peace. The act of letting go, however, opens a door to something far more meaningful than we might have realized, a chance to reconnect with our own stillness. When we are emotionally attached, it's easy to think that we are in control. We feel that by holding on, we are maintaining some sense of stability, but in reality, the attachment we carry can often stir up inner turmoil, doubt, and confusion. When we hold on to something or someone who no longer serves our best interests, we inadvertently create an imbalance within ourselves. This imbalance can manifest in many forms: frustration, fear, resentment, or even a deep sense of loss that we may not fully understand. But when we make the conscious choice to release, something powerful happens. We begin to clear the inner clutter. Imagine living with a room full of items you no longer use. The room becomes crowded, cluttered, and difficult to navigate. The more you hold on to things you no longer need, the more chaotic the space becomes. Letting go is like clearing out that room, making room for light to pour in. The space you freed, which was once taken up by emotional clutter, is now open and ripe for peace. It's in this openness that your inner peace can truly emerge. You no longer feel the constant pull of external emotions or the weight of unspoken expectations. Instead, you come back to yourself, back to that quiet place within you that had been drowned out by the noise of attachment. In this space, your mind can rest. Your soul can breathe. The tension that once gripped you begins to melt away, leaving behind a sense of clarity that you might not have known you were missing. The peace that follows the decision to let go isn't a fleeting moment either. It's a shift that occurs deep within. It's the kind of peace that comes when you no longer feel at the mercy of the past or the future. It's the kind of peace that arrives when you realize that you don't need external validation to feel whole, that all along you've had everything you needed within you. The person or situation you once clung to may have been a source of comfort, but in reality it was not the source of your peace. The peace was always inside you, waiting to be uncovered. Letting go of someone isn't about erasing the love you had for them. It's not about disregarding the lessons they may have taught you, or the ways in which they helped shape who you are. It's about recognizing that in order to move forward you must release them, and by doing so you are not rejecting the past, you are embracing your future. You're acknowledging that the person you are now has evolved. The past no longer defines you. You are no longer tethered to the past version of yourself, or the relationship you once had. The peace that comes from letting go often surprises us, because it's the kind of peace that arrives with a deep, unshakable knowing. It's the peace that comes when we trust ourselves enough to make the hard choices, even when they don't make immediate sense. It's a peace that grows over time as we begin to see the wisdom of our decision unfolding before us. Letting go isn't about pushing through the pain. It's about trusting that the universe has a plan, and that letting go is part of the journey toward greater fulfillment. This peace can sometimes be a quiet, subtle thing, something you might not even notice at first. It's not a dramatic shift. It's more like the soft opening of a window after being in a stuffy room for hours. But once you feel that fresh air, once you let it in, you realize how much better it feels to be free of the suffocating weight of emotional attachments. Your heart begins to feel lighter, and with each passing day, your connection to your true self becomes more and more tangible. There's an incredible power in peace, something that's easy to overlook when we're caught up in the drama and emotions of our relationships. We often think that being busy or active, being tied to something, means we're doing something worthwhile. But peace, true peace, doesn't require action. It doesn't require the constant need for external validation or for the approval of others. Peace simply exists, and when we let go of what no longer serves us, we make room for it. Once that peace settles in, you begin to notice something else: clarity. You begin to see things as they really are, not as you hoped they would be, or as they once were. In the stillness, you can hear your intuition more clearly. You begin to trust yourself more, and the decisions that once felt complicated and overwhelming now seem much simpler. You can hear your heart more clearly because it's no longer drowned out by the noise of attachment. This clarity allows you to move forward with confidence and direction, no longer weighed down by the uncertainty and the emotional baggage of the past. What often surprises people is that peace doesn't just come from the act of letting go of another person. It also comes from the act of letting go of the attachment to the idea of who that person was supposed to be, or what that relationship was supposed to look like. The peace doesn't come from the relationship itself. It comes from your willingness to release the need to control or force an outcome. It's the acceptance that life moves in cycles, and that all relationships, no matter how significant, are part of a greater flow of energy. When we release the need to hold on to the idea of what was or what could have been, we make room for what is. And in that peace, you begin to realize that you are whole on your own. It's easy to forget this when we're deeply attached to someone or something. We begin to define ourselves in relation to others, seeking validation or approval. But in the silence that follows letting go, we reconnect with the truth that we are enough, just as we are. The peace that we find within ourselves is not dependent on anyone else. It's a peace that comes from knowing that we are complete without needing anything or anyone to make us whole. As you move forward in your journey, the peace you've found will continue to guide you. It will not only help you find solace after the release, but will also help you navigate any future challenges with grace and strength. It will be a constant reminder that peace is your birthright, and by trusting in the process of letting go, you've reclaimed that right. The more you let go, the more you will see how much peace was always waiting for you just beneath the surface. And in that peace, you'll find your path forward, clear, calm, and guided by the wisdom that comes from within. When we make the decision to let someone go, we often feel as though we're leaving something behind. We might feel as though we're losing a piece of ourselves. But what often goes unnoticed is the profound opportunity for personal growth and transformation that this decision brings. Letting go is not merely an act of detachment, it's an act of spiritual liberation that invites us into a space of reflection, renewal, and self-discovery. This is the kind of transformation that only comes when we step away from the familiar, when we allow ourselves to be open to the unknown, even when it feels uncomfortable or difficult. In the moment we let go, we may experience a sense of emptiness or sadness, but beneath this initial wave of emotion is a deeper, more profound truth. We are creating space for our own evolution. Holding on to someone, especially when that connection no longer serves us, keeps us tethered to the past, to patterns, to expectations that are no longer in alignment with who we are becoming. We might think that by holding on, we are protecting ourselves from pain, from uncertainty, or from change, but in reality, it's through letting go that we open ourselves to the possibilities of growth. We create the space for something greater to emerge. It's important to recognize that growth is not always a comfortable process. In fact, growth often comes with discomfort because it requires us to move beyond our comfort zones. When we hold on to relationships or situations that are no longer aligned with our highest good, we are choosing to remain stagnant. The act of letting go, however, forces us to confront the discomfort of change. It challenges us to let go of our attachment to what we thought we needed, what we thought we couldn't live without. And in doing so, it pushes us to become more resilient, more adaptable, and more in tune with our true needs and desires. As we begin to let go, we may also encounter something else, an opportunity to redefine ourselves. So often, we define ourselves in relation to others. We measure our worth based on how we are seen by the people we hold dear, by the roles we play in their lives. But when we let go of these relationships or connections, we are left with ourselves, unencumbered by external definitions. This is where true transformation can begin. We are no longer defined by who we were in the past or by the roles we've played for others. Instead, we have the freedom to redefine who we are and who we want to become. This transformation isn't something that happens overnight. It's a gradual unfolding, a process of self-discovery that takes time and patience. But the act of letting go catalyzes this transformation. It's the beginning of a journey that calls us to look inward, to confront our own shadows, and to discover the parts of ourselves we may have ignored or suppressed. When we release someone, we also release the need to define ourselves by that person's presence in our lives. We reclaim the parts of ourselves that we may have lost in the process of attachment, and in doing so, we grow into a more whole, more authentic version of who we are. This process of personal growth is also an opportunity to build a deeper connection with ourselves. When we let go of someone, especially someone we've held close for a long time, we are often forced to confront our own vulnerabilities and fears. We might fear being alone, fear being misunderstood, or fear losing a sense of connection to the world. These fears can feel overwhelming, but they are also invitations for us to heal and grow. They are reminders that, in order to fully connect with others, we must first learn to connect with ourselves. The decision to let go invites us to spend time with ourselves, to reconnect with our own values, desires, and dreams. It's in this space of solitude and reflection that we begin to find our true strength, our own voice. Furthermore, letting go invites us to cultivate self-love. It's easy to think that we are only lovable when we are in relationship with others, when we are fulfilling certain roles or meeting certain expectations. But true self-love comes when we realize that our worth is not dependent on anyone else. It comes when we acknowledge that we are enough as we are, without needing to hold on to others in order to feel validated. Letting go allows us to shift our focus inward, to recognize that our happiness and sense of fulfillment are not dependent on another person's presence in our lives. We learn that we can be whole, complete, and at peace within ourselves, regardless of the relationships we have or don't have. This journey of personal growth and transformation also invites us to embrace change. Change is something that many of us resist, especially when it involves letting go of something or someone that once meant so much. But in resisting change, we often miss the opportunities it brings. Change, in its truest form, is not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed. Letting go teaches us that change is not an end but a beginning. It's a doorway to new experiences, new lessons, and new possibilities. By letting go, we are saying yes to the unknown, to the adventure of self-discovery, and to the excitement of what might come next. As we move through this process of growth, we also begin to develop a deeper understanding of our own boundaries. Often, when we hold on to someone, we do so at the expense of our own needs and desires. We may sacrifice our own well-being in order to maintain the connection, or we may ignore the signs that the relationship is no longer healthy. But when we let go, we are honoring our boundaries. We are acknowledging that our emotional, mental, and spiritual health is worth protecting. In doing so, we learn to set healthier boundaries in all areas of our lives, which ultimately helps us create more balanced and fulfilling relationships moving forward. Through the act of letting go, we also begin to embrace forgiveness, not just of others, but of ourselves. Letting go allows us to release any guilt or shame we may be holding on to, whether it's for past mistakes or for holding on to something that was no longer serving us. It's an invitation to forgive ourselves for the ways we may have stayed in unhealthy situations or allowed ourselves to be held back by fear. It's an opportunity to release the past and step into a new chapter, one that is free from regret and full of possibility. What is truly remarkable about this process of personal growth and transformation is that it is not always visible to others. It's an internal journey, one that unfolds in the quiet spaces of our hearts and minds. It's not about making grand gestures or proving to the world that we've changed. It's about quietly stepping into a more authentic version of ourselves, one that is more aligned with our values, our needs, and our true desires. As we let go, we create the space for this transformation to unfold naturally, and it happens at its own pace in its own time. The beauty of this transformation is that it's ongoing. It's not a one-time event or a single moment of change. It's a continual unfolding, a deepening of our connection to ourselves and the world around us. And as we continue to let go of what no longer serves us, we continue to grow, to evolve, and to become the people we are truly meant to be. When we let someone go, we may not immediately recognize it, but the process invites us into a profound shift in perspective. This shift is one of empowerment, an awakening to our own inner strength, and the realization that we are capable of facing challenges, healing, and rebuilding ourselves in ways we might never have imagined before. In that moment of release, we reclaim our power. Letting go is not an act of weakness, rather, it is a declaration that we have the courage to step into our own lives with full ownership of who we are and what we need. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the people in our lives hold power over us. We often think that their presence or approval is necessary for our well-being, and this belief can subtly influence how we view ourselves and navigate the world. When we let someone go, it forces us to confront this belief head-on. Suddenly, we realize that our power was never truly dependent on another person. It was within us all along, waiting to be acknowledged and claimed. In fact, the moment we release someone, we also release the belief that our happiness is contingent on someone else. We stop defining ourselves by our relationships or by the roles we play for others. Instead, we become free to define ourselves on our own terms. We begin to reconnect with the innate power that lies within us, the power to choose our own path, to make decisions that are aligned with our highest good, and to embrace the fullness of who we are without needing external validation. This newfound sense of empowerment is not a fleeting feeling. It is an enduring shift that remains with us long after we've made the decision to let go. This empowerment also allows us to approach life with greater clarity and confidence. We no longer feel tethered to the past or to the opinions of others. We no longer feel bound by the expectations that others may have placed on us. Instead, we can move forward with a sense of purpose, knowing that we are in control of our own destiny. The act of letting go creates a sense of space within us, space that we can now fill with our own goals, aspirations, and dreams. In this space, we are free to envision the life we truly want, not one shaped by the influence of others, but one that is authentic to our own desires. It's important to understand that empowerment doesn't mean we never feel vulnerable or uncertain. On the contrary, the journey toward empowerment often involves facing our vulnerabilities, our fears, and our doubts. It's through acknowledging and embracing these vulnerabilities that we discover our true strength. When we let go of someone, We may feel a sense of loss, sadness, or even fear. These emotions are natural. They remind us that we are human. But even in these moments of vulnerability, we are still empowered because we are choosing to face these emotions rather than run from them. We are choosing to take ownership of our own healing, to trust that we have the strength within us to move through the discomfort and come out the other side stronger and more whole. The empowerment that comes from letting go also allows us to let go of the need for control. So often when we hold on to someone, we do so because we believe that by holding on, we can somehow control the outcome of the relationship. We think that if we just try hard enough, if we hold on long enough, things will change. But the truth is, we cannot control another person's actions, thoughts, or feelings. We cannot force someone to stay, to change, or to love us in the way we wish. By letting go, we release the need for control. We stop trying to manipulate or force an outcome, and instead we trust in the natural flow of life. This act of letting go also helps us release the heavy burden of expectations. We often enter relationships with certain hopes, dreams, and expectations of what we want them to be. We imagine how the relationship will unfold and what it will provide for us. When those expectations are not met, we can feel disappointed, hurt, and even resentful. But when we let go, we release those expectations. We stop trying to control how things should be, and instead, we allow life to unfold as it will. This release of expectations doesn't mean we stop caring or stop desiring meaningful connections. It means that we no longer tie our happiness to a specific outcome. We become open to the possibility that the relationship we thought we needed may not have been the right one for us, and that by letting go, we are making space for something even better. The empowerment that comes from letting go also invites us to honor our own needs. For so long, when we hold on to a relationship, we may put our own needs on the back burner in favor of maintaining the connection. We may neglect our own well-being in the hope of making the relationship work. But letting go teaches us that our needs are just as important as anyone else's. It teaches us to value our own happiness, our own peace, and our own fulfillment. We begin to recognize that we are deserving of relationships that nurture and support us, not drain or diminish us. When we release someone, we begin to understand that we are worthy of love, respect, and understanding on our own terms. This newfound sense of empowerment allows us to set healthier boundaries in future relationships, boundaries that honor our own needs and desires. We no longer feel compelled to compromise our values, our peace, or our well-being for the sake of someone else's happiness. Instead, we embrace the belief that our own happiness is just as important, and we trust that by honoring ourselves, we will attract relationships that are more aligned with our true essence. The empowerment that comes with letting go also allows us to heal. When we hold on to someone, we often carry the weight of past hurts, misunderstandings, and unresolved emotions. We may find ourselves reliving old wounds or replaying past conversations in our minds, but letting go is an act of release. It allows us to free ourselves from the emotional burden of the past. It doesn't erase the memories or the lessons we've learned, but it does release the emotional hold that those past experiences have on us. This release is empowering because it allows us to step into the present moment without the weight of past hurts weighing us down. As we let go, we also begin to reconnect with our own authenticity. We stop trying to be someone we're not in order to please others or to fit into a relationship that no longer fits who we are. Letting go allows us to strip away the layers of false identity and to embrace the truth of who we are at our core. This authenticity is empowering because it is rooted in self-acceptance and self-love. We no longer seek validation from others because we have already found it within ourselves. And as we move forward, we become more attuned to our own desires and dreams. We are no longer caught in the web of someone else's expectations or ideas of who we should be. Instead, we are free to follow our own path, to listen to our own inner voice, and to pursue the things that truly light us up. This is the true essence of empowerment. To be in control of your own life, your own choices, and your own destiny. In the end, the decision to let go is a powerful act of reclaiming your own power. It is an affirmation that you are worthy, you are whole, and you are more than capable of creating a life that is aligned with your true self. By releasing someone who no longer serves your highest good, you are making space for the power within you to shine. And that power, when fully embraced, will guide you toward the life you are truly meant to live. When we let go of someone, we often enter a space where healing becomes not just possible but necessary. The emotional weight of holding on to a relationship that no longer serves us can take a toll on our hearts, our minds, and our spirits. But in the act of letting go, we create the conditions for profound healing to take place. We open ourselves up to the possibility of renewal, of wholeness, and of transformation that we may not have thought was possible. Letting go isn't just about releasing another person. It's about giving ourselves the space and the permission to heal from within. Healing begins with acknowledgement. When we choose to let someone go, we acknowledge the pain, the hurt, and the sorrow that come with the decision. We don't shy away from the discomfort, we lean into it. We recognize that it's okay to feel sadness, disappointment, or grief. These emotions are natural responses to loss. But in acknowledging them, we also acknowledge the need for change. Letting go becomes the first step in this process of healing. It's an invitation to confront what has been holding us back, what has been causing us pain, and what has been preventing us from moving forward. It's a courageous act of self-awareness, of recognizing that something is no longer right for us, and taking the necessary steps to free ourselves from it. In this process, we also begin to reclaim our emotional balance. For so long, we may have been entangled in the emotional dynamics of a relationship, constantly reacting to another person's moods, actions, or decisions. Our emotions may have been dictated by the rhythms of someone else's presence in our lives, leaving us feeling drained, uncertain, or unstable. But when we let go, we are no longer tethered to someone else's emotional state. We reclaim the ability to regulate our own emotions, to respond to life in a way that is rooted in our own truth, not in the whims of another. This emotional independence is a vital part of the healing process. It allows us to reconnect with our own inner wisdom, to listen to our own needs, and to rebuild our emotional foundation on our own terms. Letting go also clears the way for us to confront any unresolved emotions that we may have been carrying. Sometimes when we hold on to someone, we carry with us the weight of unspoken words, unprocessed feelings, and unresolved issues. These emotional burdens can fester, creating blockages that prevent us from fully healing. When we release someone from our lives, we are giving ourselves the chance to face these unaddressed emotions head-on. We may need to grieve, to forgive, or to simply allow ourselves the time and space to process what has happened. This is not always easy, but it is necessary. It's through this confrontation with our emotions that we can finally release the pain that has been holding us back and begin to heal. In the absence of the person we've let go of, we also create room for new perspectives and new ways of thinking. Often, when we are in a relationship, whether it's a friendship, a romantic partnership, or a familial bond, we are influenced by the other person's worldview, opinions, and ways of being. This influence can be positive, but it can also be limiting, especially if it leads us to suppress our own beliefs or desires. When we let go, we give ourselves permission to reconnect with our own inner compass, to reassess what we truly want, and to rediscover the aspects of ourselves that may have been overshadowed by the relationship. This process of self-discovery is an essential part of healing. It allows us to grow and evolve, to develop a clearer understanding of who we are and what we want from life. But healing isn't just an internal process. It also involves the external world around us. When we let go of someone, we are making a conscious decision to re-establish boundaries that nurture our well-being. In many cases, holding on to a relationship can blur these boundaries, causing us to neglect our own needs in favor of someone else's. We may feel guilty for prioritizing ourselves, or we may fear that letting go means we are abandoning the other person. But healing requires us to honor ourselves, to recognize that we cannot pour from an empty cup. By letting go, we give ourselves permission to fill our own cup, to take care of our own needs, and to create a space where we can fully heal. It's also important to recognize that healing is not linear. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't always follow a predictable path. There will be days when the pain feels raw, when the grief feels overwhelming, and when the road to healing seems long and uncertain. But this is part of the process. Healing comes in waves, and sometimes the process of letting go brings up old wounds that we thought had already healed. This doesn't mean we are not healing. It simply means that healing is not a destination, but a journey. Each wave of pain offers us the opportunity to go deeper, to uncover more layers of ourselves, and to learn more about what we truly need in order to heal. Letting go also gives us the opportunity to cultivate forgiveness. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as something we do for others, but in reality, it is something we do for ourselves. Holding on to anger, resentment, or bitterness only serves to keep us tied to the past. It keeps us anchored to the person or situation that hurt us, preventing us from moving forward. But forgiveness frees us. It doesn't mean that we condone the other person's behavior or that we forget what happened. It simply means that we choose to release the hold that the past has over us. By forgiving, we are taking back our power, letting go of the emotional weight that has been holding us down, and making space for healing to take place. One of the most profound aspects of healing is the opportunity for personal growth that it provides. When we let go of someone, we are not just healing from the hurt they may have caused, we are also growing into a stronger, wiser version of ourselves. The pain of letting go often teaches us valuable lessons about our own boundaries, our own needs, and our own capacity for resilience. Through this process, we learn more about who we are and what we are capable of. We become more self-aware, more compassionate, and more in tune with our own desires. We also develop a deeper understanding of the kind of relationships we want to invite into our lives in the future. This growth is a direct result of the healing that takes place when we let go. In the end, healing is not about erasing the past or forgetting the person we've let go of. It's about reclaiming our own sense of wholeness, our own peace, and our own sense of self. It's about acknowledging the pain, facing the emotions, and choosing to move forward in a way that honors our own needs. Through this process of healing, we become more complete, more authentic, and more connected to the truth of who we are. Letting go is not just a release. It is the beginning of a profound healing journey that can lead us to a place of greater love, acceptance, and peace within ourselves.